And we're on the air with week 10 of Noir 106.
Week 10.
Hard to believe.
Two-thirds of the way through.
We're into it.
And so are the students.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
We're good.
Good.
Very good.
No kidnappings? No calls from mysterious Russians?
No, I mean, and
Yeah.
another amazing week of radio.
Yeah.
Another amazing week of radio. We finished up all of our students' shows this week. We have one more show. We'll talk about that a little bit tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, the radio shows were pretty much stellar. I mean, really kind of blew me out of the water. Pretty stellar this semester. Everybody.
The best yet.
Yeah,
In
it was
any
a great
DS
collection.
This cohort is shaping up to be, and I've been part of almost all of them, the best DS106 cohort ever. And I mean that with the utmost respect for others that have come before.
Right. There's no yeah. It's not really a competition, but it is.
It is, though. Exactly.
Competition. A little bit of a competition.
Well, I mean, they
all
are
right, well,
building
let's
off
talk
of
about what
stuff
we're
that
doing.
came before. Yeah.
Is Martha
It's
Burton?
true. They have the benefit of standing on the giants, on the shoulders of giants, on the giants of shoulders.
No, it's pretty much you come at a new semester and you either have your A game or you don't.
So you would argue that what came before is irrelevant. Bond argues that we stand on the shoulders of giants. So you're disagreeing.
A little bit.
Okay.
I mean, with the utmost respect, and if I knew where he was, I would go and apologize in person.
Of course.
But I think it's like every time you restart a video game, right? You start fresh.
But you've learned some. Well, okay. Anyway, let's talk about this week. We don't have time for this.
Yeah.
We've got a bunch of stuff planned this week. Let's dive right in. Groom, why don't you take us through what our students are going to be doing this week to finish up video work?
Yes.
Well, almost all of the video work. Go ahead.
Okay. To finish up video work, you have two options. Option one. If you chose to not work in a group because you're isolated and alienated and you don't like people, your job is to complete 15 stars of video assignments this week, all of which should reflect your character in some way. And I am going to say this, 15, that's a lot, but I'm going to say this. The video assignments are watered down. I think Spencer Scott brought this up. There's far too many stars for some of that work. And I hope each of you, looks in the mirror before you give yourself 5 stars for doing like a couple of images linked over a iMovie that has some music under it about you scraping your knee. Don't do it. Don't overvalue that work. I'm going to try and go through tonight and tomorrow and bring some of that stuff down. Now, it won't affect anyone that's come before. You'll get the stars. But this week, we're going to try and even out that valuation of some of those video assignments because they're overinflated in my mind.
Can I interject something?
Yes.
I want to just point out, since I have the reputation of being the meanie in this class.
The meanie?
The meanie. That's an official.
If you say meanie.
It's my turn to talk. I would like to point out that in our assignment Google Doc this week, I had 12 points, and I asked my collaborators, is this too much? And Groom upped it to 15. So,
does that make me
say what
meanie?
you will about me being mean. For this week, apparently, yes, it does.
I'm the meanie.
You get the meanie hat. All right, go ahead.
So anyway, I'm the meanie. Do 15 stars and look at yourself. Like, I want you to really think to yourself, am I getting away with something by giving myself 5 stars for this, assignment that took me 20 minutes to do? I mean, really. Think about it. Okay, that's option 1. Option 2, if you're working in a group, this is the week to complete your video episode. We see that several people have. We have trailers to show at the end of this episode, so stay tuned. But be sure to blog your progress throughout the week. The tag for that is Video Show Progress. And share your final show in your weekly post. But really, you do need to update us on your progress throughout the week. And also, just a quick heads up, if you're working on a video show, we have resources here at the Division of Teaching and Learning Technologies, like a green screen, like really good equipment, like an editing suite. And we even have a new media production room that's up. and we have someone who can help you. So go crazy. Take advantage of some of this stuff. Talk to us this week if you can find the time, and put that extra little kind of gloss on your project, if you will. I'm done.
Glossy. All right, Bond. We actually do have one other video assignment that we're going to ask everybody to do. Hopefully this will be a fun one. Why don't you tell people what this is?
Yeah, you've got a required video assignment this week. Really, it would be great if we could interview all of your Noir 106 characters this week, but we just don't have enough time. So we recorded ourselves asking a series of questions. We want you to pick some questions that we asked and respond in your character's voice. You don't have to use all of our questions, but your final interview should have like at least 7 of them. And you can find our questions. We're going to link them to you. And blog about this video and tag it character interview. So we're going to have...
Bond, question.
Yeah, yes.
If a student was, for whatever reason, not able to or wasn't comfortable with recording themselves, are there options that they could use for their character interview? Like, are there other creative ways they could interpret that assignment?
Your room
like, for example, if somebody was playing a character that they just physically don't represent at all, resemble at all. I guess what I'm saying is we're okay with...
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Substitute someone else. You could use an avatar. You could really your options for creativity are unlimited.
Could you Tony the Tiger it?
Tony the Tiger?
Yes, everybody knows Tony the Tiger, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like this.
Like behind a shade, voice disguised.
I don't know anything about TF-106.
Yeah, behind the screen, so it's just a shadow or shadow on the wall. Yeah.
Yeah, and they should know these things because in design and photography weeks, they had to go on those photo safaris, and so you can definitely put all the lighting and all that stuff that you learn to good use.
Good point, Black.
Really.
And if any of our students don't know what Tony the Tigering it means, go to Google and Google it. And all shall be revealed. All right. So that's our required video assignment. Any more on that, Bond?
And that's not part of the 15.
No.
No, that's separate from the 15 stars.
Separate.
But we'll
Everyone has
give you
to
the
do
questions and go for it.
Have fun with it. You have to do at least 7. That's how you said that, right? At least 7 questions.
And all of these video assignments have to be a character.
Yes.
Or for your character.
Yes, all of your video assignments. You didn't mention that, but in option 1, all of them should reflect your character in some way. Mm-hmm. Which brings us to our next assignment this week, which Black is going to talk about.
Okay, this week you'll be changing over fully into your character. There is no more of you, the student who registered for this class. It is all your Noir 106 character. All your blog posts should be written in their voice and from their perspective. All your assignments should be related to them. Only use those Twitter accounts for your character. We only want to correspond with each other by our character names.
If you talk to us in your real name, we will pretend we don't know you. I don't know if we really will, but we might. And then there's some very special small print on this one. Do you want to read it quickly, or shall I, Black?
You can do that.
Note, characters are expected to abide by the same UMW community standards and honor code as regular students.
Smiley face.
Smiley face. So, yeah. A little bit of a note that, everybody should, even though we're playing characters, we still need to play by the rules. I don't think we need to say any more than that. Okay. There's a couple more things, but this is the last kind of biggish thing that I will talk about, which is organizing. You have an assignment to organize this week. All right. Starting next week, we are about to move into the final phase of Noir 106, which will extend until the end of the semester. We're not going to give too much away right now and tell you what that involves completely, but generally, you should know that every week you will be required to work on a larger story arc, which we will give you guidelines for every every week in this video. Now, sort of like with video assignments, you have a choice about how you want to proceed with the final phase. You can work in a group, and we strongly encourage this, all right? You can work in the same groups that you've been working on for radio and video. You can organize into new groups if you want to switch it up a little bit. But whatever route you go, whether you work in a group, and there's no limit to the number of people. It can be as small as 2 people. Well, we probably don't want like a 10-person group. I'd say like 2 to 6 people. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yeah.
Make it so. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll put that in the assignment. So you can do it in a group. You can work individually. You can go rogue, as we say, on the final phase, if that's what you'd like to do. But whatever option you choose, whether it's rogue or group, you're going to start creating what we are going to call an agency. And that agency is going to coalesce around these stories every week and work on solving them, I mean telling them. So next week, some of your work will be involved in setting up the agency's presence, establishing an identity for that agency. But you don't have to do that this week. By the end of this week, you can start that if you want, but by the end of this week, all you are required to do is decide if you're going solo or going with a group, and you need to blog about your decision in a blog post. So that's the organizing piece of this. Big decision, the choice you make, to a certain degree will determine the path you take for the next 5 weeks in the class. That said, we were talking about this a little bit earlier this evening. We do not want to either constrain your narratives in any way or force your narratives in any way. So if you form into an agency and you decide 1 week, 2 weeks down the road, you really want to interact with a character because of a story that you're telling in another agency, that's totally fine. So we are all occupying the same Noir106 universe. We are just trying to form some sort of organizations or groups that help us and further us in telling our stories going forward. Okay? Sound good? All right. Other than that, the rest of this is pretty straightforward. Only 3 daily creates this week. 10 comments, as always. That's from now until the end of the semester every week. Make them count. And then for all of our students, we have an extra credit opportunity, which is that tomorrow night at 9 o'clock on DS106 Radio, we will be broadcasting the final DS106 radio show. I know you thought they were over, but they're not. Our open online participants in DS106 have worked collaboratively over the last 3 or 4 weeks. These are people all over the world who participated in this community to create their own very special DS106 radio episode. If you tune in tomorrow at 9 and tweet along as your character, you can earn extra credit.
One point there, Martha, Curtis, is I actually got the ability to interview these groups. There's going to be people coming in from Mexico, Oregon, from all over the world, literally, and we're going to have an interview discussing their process and what they did about 8:40, and we'll have another one after the show. So anyone who wants to tune in and hear the actual people behind the show, that will be as early as 8:40 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
Awesome. So you can earn extra credit by tuning in for that broadcast tomorrow night. How much you get is up to your instructor. Remember, Jim's the meeting this week. So, okay, that's it for assignments. Now we have some things we want to talk about, as we often do. Block, I think you wanted. We have some things we've been witnessing around Noir106 this week that we want to dive into. Black, I think you were going to start us off with something that one of the students created that you wanted to share.
Yes, as we know, some stories are unfolding as part of the video assignment, and I see that the Steadfast Sleuths are continuing their story and answering some unanswered questions from their radio show in their trailer, so I can share that.
Just as a heads up, and this goes for everyone, Black, if it's on your computer and you share that, the audio might not come through.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So you might have to get that from YouTube. Like if you see if it's on YouTube,
gotcha.
and you have the title of the video, search it in YouTube and share it that way.
Thank you, Groom.
My pleasure. I feel like I work at Chick-fil-A. My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you, Drive
My
Through.
pleasure. I'll take a
You
number
froze
3.
on me.
Take a number
That's
3.
very good.
Spicy chicken, no pickles, no butter. I'll take that large, please. For the folks.
Okay, so what do you want me to do? Do you want me to screen
Can you
share?
pull it up in?
Can you pull it up in
No.
YouTube?
Can you pull it up in YouTube?
Yes, I have it up on YouTube.
Okay, so what you do
No, I
is,
mean in YouTube and Google Plus.
yeah,
In your Google Hangout. Yeah, there's like a YouTube app.
yeah. You go to View More Apps, those 3 buttons on the left. Click that, there's going to be one that says YouTube. Click that and then search it on YouTube. Bam.
Just like that.
Bam. If you tell me the name of it, the full title, I'll try and do it.
It's Steadfast Sluice Trailer.
Oh, I can't because my Google,
Okay, I got it.
my YouTube account
Okay.
has been officially suspended for copyright infringement,
Opening YouTube.
which is actually appropriate during video week. They cut me off at the knees. That's when you know you're a true artist.
Steadfast Sluice Trailer.
Am I muted? Can you guys hear me?
No, we hear you.
Yeah, let's screw you too then. All right. You find it?
Looks like Martha's muted.
Yeah, Martha, you're muted. I believe that's purposeful.
Yeah.
Martha, are you trying to show us something? Because we're not seeing anything. She's muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like playing. It says that it's playing to all of you, and that I have to mute myself.
It's not.
But you're not hearing it.
No. I wonder if it's not letting you play because we're live.
I don't. It doesn't say anything about that. Martha Burtis. Can you
I can hear you now.
hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Nope.
No.
That's really weird.
Yeah, so.
Just it says it's playing back, but my mic is muted while playing.
Yeah, because YouTube is against sharing as much as they're premised on it.
Huh.
In the
I thought
end.
the whole point of the YouTube app was to play videos for people to see.
But I think when it's live, it's absolutely like
Huh.
it controls that because live, God forbid you share something that's copyrighted live.
Let me see.
You're muted, both of you. See, I'm the only one who doesn't have to worry about this because they took away.
Because you can't even use YouTube. I know, that's great.
They banned me. Banned in DC.
All right, well, that's very interesting, but in the meantime, how are we going to share stuff?
Well, we could just put the links to these exemplary works at the bottom of the blog post for everyone to check out to make sure they've
I think so.
caught on to it, and we can just
Yeah.
discuss it.
All right.
Good call.
Well, that's fine. The stuff that I have to share for the most part doesn't require sound, so why don't you just tell us a little bit about this trailer, Black, for Steadfast Sluice, and then we'll move on to some of these other interesting developments.
Yes, it looks like it's going to answer some of the questions about what body was in the apartment building fire that they found, but there's also seems to be something with like a dead child because there was a shot of like a blood splatter with a picture of a little girl. So I don't know where that's going, but it should be interesting.
I'm very excited to see the sleuths back together, doing their work. I enjoyed their
Absolutely.
show tremendously.
Absolutely. I'm glad that they were one of the groups who decided to go forward with video.
Yeah, me too.
So, all right. I'm going to try my screen sharing. Let's see if YouTube allows that.
Okay.
This is the one I think I want. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
And, okay, so this first is actually a trailer. Hey, what would happen if I held my earbud up to the speaker on my computer so you could hear it?
It might work.
Let's find out. Okay, here I go. Oh yeah, that's not going to work because I'm only hearing it through my other earbud.
Oh, there we go. I love that you're cracking yourself up here. I love this. I mean, while we're going, that was a great little kind of like homage there.
And actually, this one is just music, so we can just watch this. You can see it, right? Yeah.
I love how non-noir they look.
I know.
Like
There was murder and a dead baby.
Bright pastels and their wash. It's just like the most un-noir trailer ever.
Well, I like that all of the clips and photos are totally un-noir, but like the text and stuff is very dramatic.
It's great. It's like spring break noir. We should do a show like Mystery Science 3K and just pull apart their episodes.
I am totally looking forward to this. Now, here is the main reason I'm looking forward to this, though, because I don't know if you all caught this. Okay, I'm going to stop the trailer there. Noir Not the Father is reuniting. We will be blessed with that episode by the end of this week.
And I love that. I do love the Springer stuff, the Jerry Springer stuff. So I personally do love that.
Okay, I'm the one sharing right now, Groom. If you missed it on Kelsey's blog, I'm sorry, I guess this would be, I don't know if it's Stella or Blair. I can't keep everybody straight. This would be, Kelsey is
I think she's Stella.
So on Stella's blog, because we're changing over, on Stella's blog, there was a surreptitiously recorded set of phone calls this week between Stella and Blair that I can't play for you because, audio, but you should go and listen to them. So this is kind of a teaser to get everybody out there prepared for this show. It sounds to me like there's a secret that's going to be revealed in the reunion show for Noir Not the Father. This was probably one of the most intriguing things I witnessed all week was this.
Does it have anything to do with the McDonald's biscuit with egg?
It actually sort of does.
Ooh.
I don't think the secret does, but, well, you'll just have to listen. But the biscuit is not completely out of place.
Gotcha.
So, all right. So that was interesting. Now, we had another trailer, which I'm going to play without the volume because, sound. But this was kind of an interesting one. This is the House of Noir is also returning with video with each of the characters doing a trailer this week showing kind of through about their particular character. So this was about Sebastian. I don't know if you caught it. There's a strange woman in there. I'm not sure who that is and how she'll be figuring into Sebastian's narrative. I particularly love this shot because we all know never to shoot video like this, but it totally works.
Exactly.
And then just the House of Noir. The music on this is awesome. Yeah. Go and listen to this through the eyes of Sebastian Crane. A very enigmatic and important developing character in Noir 106. I believe Sebastian's friend Janelle suggested she would love to see Sebastian continue in the universe of DS106 after this semester.
Oh. Yeah, he certainly has been...
I think he has staying power.
He does.
And so I would actually recommend that his friend Janelle create at least one assignment in the assignment bank about Sebastian Crane so that future generations of DS106 can be a part of this little bit of DS106 history.
As long as it doesn't compete with Jim Grumart, I'm fine. The other thing, too, though, about this one is the idea of Freddie Mercury's I just killed a man, mama, slowed down as they learned on Audio Week to sound completely creepy and haunting. It's just
I know. It's like you'd almost think it was like a cover of that song that completely changed what that's, but it's not. It's just slowed down, and it's so effective.
It's great.
It's great. Okay, now, segueing from Sebastian Crane into more Sebastian Crane, where we're also going to bring in another character in Noir 106 who's been developing since the semester started. This is Donnie Rollin, who is a writer who has been working for Sebastian at the San Francisco Chronicle, And I just realized I have some photos here, but I'm going to have to share a different screen to show you those. So let me just open those up while I vamp a little. Bonnie's got quite a backstory, and I'm going to show you a video that reveals a little bit of that backstory. And I want to warn you that you should get your Kleenex out because it's sad. It's a pretty poignant little tale. But in the meantime, this week over social media, Crane and Roland kind of got into it. So Donnie's been working for Crane, but this week he finally, I guess he just finally had enough.
Yeah.
So let me try and screen share these. I had to do these as kind of screen caps from Twitter to do this. So let me do. So here's the first one. You share that. So are you seeing? Are you seeing this first tweet from Donnie Roland to No Pain, No Grain? No pain, no crane. Consider this my resignation.
Yeah.
So I'll show you that resignation letter in a second. Sebastian responds, "Your loss, Roland." So they were really kind of, and then Donnie
is bury you professionally.
Right. We'll see how fast your subscriptions drop. So suggesting that maybe Roland's writing is what has made that paper what it is. And then the second set of tweets here, share those. So just further kind of trash talk between Crane and Roland. Kind of sad to see. I had hoped those characters might bond and bring each other some much needed friendship, some much needed male friendship. Those two writers, but apparently that's just not to be. At least not at this point in the story. So let me switch back to my browser. I know it's pretty tragic.
It is.
So back here, we can see this would be Roland's resignation letter, which he very creatively wrote as a haiku. It's a little bit subtle, but he's basically saying that, I think what he's saying is that writing an article for the Chronicle isn't that hard. Sit down with your pen, write until your mind is blank, and then just submit it to Crane. I added syllables in there that the haiku actually does scan. And with that, he basically told Crane to shove it.
Yeah. Well, take this job.
So take this job.
Very Dolly Parton of him.
And then this video, this is the sad one, folks. I'm just going to play it. We can talk about it at the end.
You got to full screen this bad boy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So yeah, there we find out the truth behind Donnie's past. That called back to the office from vacation. His wife and son boarded a train and were tragically killed.
That was a small train too.
It was a very small train.
And that was quite a car. I mean, what kind of car is Donnie driving? I mean, that's some serious.
Well, I don't know if you noticed. I thought the most impressive part, actually, I mean, obviously, very, very sad story, was, I don't know if you noticed his dismount from that car, but he basically did a cartwheel. And Donnie's got the moves. So anyway, so that's a little bit of the backstory there on Roland and Crane.
Sad.
Very sad. Two other kind of follow-ups that we saw on the radio show, the first of which, we saw a dinner party. We listened to Dinner Party at 6 at the very end of this past week. A very mysterious, Clue-like radio drama about a murder. And then this hit the wire this week, which was this character Lucas, It may be that that entire thing was just a dream. If you go back further in Lucas's blog, you'll see that the night before he was actually reading a book right before bed called Dinner Party at 6.
Wow.
So if you were wondering what was up with that show, we don't know for sure, but certainly what is being suggested is that this may have been all just a fantasy.
It's an interesting.
Like Midsummer Night's Dream. Really a bit like Shakespeare.
I don't buy it.
Well, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. And then the last one, so I can't remember the name of this show that we saw last week. Maybe Bond remembers, with Bev and Damon. It was our very mysterious X-Files show with the POTUS president appearing at the end.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Layla Arkwood was the other character in there.
Yeah.
Yes, Layla, exactly. A very, very strange cast of characters with a lot of secrets. Appearing on Bev's blog this week, a story map showing a trip that Bev and Damon took after the show to, I believe, Bali, of all places. So, I don't know. I was sort of shocked by that. Not exactly where I thought that would go. So I think there's a lot more to that show than we realized. And that's it. That's my recap of the week of things that I found while out and about on Noir106.
Yeah, I mean, and there's been, like, it's interesting to see people lock in. I've had my own run-in. I don't know if anyone else noticed this, but there's a character in Noir106 right now called Bertha Curtis, I think. And Bertha Curtis is kind of, you know, a bit yelling at me. I created this thing when I was at a hackathon in Boston that was basically an old school kind of tilde spaces or tilde spaces that anyone could get their own web. And this person, Bertha Curtis, was like, give me one, give me one. And so I gave one, and kind of associated with Noir106. But one of the things that struck me is what she did with that. So if you go, and I'm going to bring it up here now, if you go to her space, which is Bertha Curtis, and like I said, I'll bring it up now, it's a little bit, for me, a little bit striking. So here's some of the tilde spaces, and Bertha Curtis's space is, yeah, it must not have been updated. Let me get it here. I think it's Bertha Curtis. Yeah. Here it is. With music, no less. I don't know if you can see that. But there's Jim Groom, me, and then how can we possibly make art? And I think it's free Jim Groom, without Jim Groom, which actually reminds me of some of the discourse going on earlier. You can't hear the music about Jim Groom art and my captivity, which I'm not allowed to talk about based on an agreement or something I have with Talkie Tina. But it does seem similar to some of the stuff you were saying, Martha, and I don't know if you know anything about Bertha Curtis.
No, I didn't. Can you zoom in a little bit on that? I was having trouble seeing it. Could you, like, you know, with your browser, zoom in a little? I'm trying to.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You can
Thank
take
you.
a look at it closer.
I don't know who Bertha Curtis, you say her name.
Bertha Curtis. That's right.
Yeah.
So let me go there and share this, and then let me find the tilde space. Hold on. So it's ds106.club, and it's Bertha Curtis. Let me just find that. Bertha Curtis. Old school tilde spaces, kind of
right.
HTML as it should be.
Well, thank you. That's very helpful.
Right? Look at that.
Jim Groom, right? How can we
possibly
make
art?
Okay.
Free Jim Groom.
I actually think
and then there's a little subliminal thing there.
Yeah.
Don't, like so, without.
Huh.
Right? And then.
So it says.
The song. You can't hear it, but when you go to the site, you can hear it. I'm so afraid of living in oblivion. Possibly make art, and then don't free Jim Groom. Don't see that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I feel a little bit threatened by that. I mean,
what was the other link on? Oh, okay, never mind. Anyway, there was a link, but that's fine.
Is there another link?
No, please. Let's move on. That's very interesting.
It is. And if
Strange.
anybody
Very
wants
strange.
in DS106 right now, one of those tilde spaces to see how people used to write old school HTML and create sites, reach out to me because we do have access for anyone interested in creating their own old school website. So you're going to be all creating agencies, and you can have a lot of fun doing that in different ways. And I'll just throw it out. You can do an old school HTML agency as well.
When you say old school, could you tell people what that means, Groom?
Yes, so the web didn't always exist of WordPress blogs, right?
What are you talking about?
There used to be, actually, you would write HTML and FTP it up. And so a good example of this is some of the sites that have their own, shall we say, aesthetic, right? And so one of those aesthetics is the animated GIF, which has come back, right? And so I think, and I don't know, but I think one of the things that you can look at is this, right? The dancing baby and the martinis.
Dancing baby, yeah.
And this is a web ring that Tim Owen started. You have the counter, which obviously the one with Free Jim Groom was getting a lot of traffic. This one, not so much. But this is an old school aesthetic of the web. Here's another one. Here's Oblivion with the kind of GIF. And this is Dr. Oblivion, and that kind of might be what Bertha Curtis was reminded to. Again, the web ring. There's some even more kind of compelling examples, like these ASCII art. Look at that! Are you?
That's very nice. That's beautiful.
This is
we should,
art.
Yeah.
And so this is a different notion of an aesthetic. Here's another one. David Kernahan has frames on his. So this is a different aesthetic where you would have frames on the sidebar.
Well, it's interesting that you would call it a different aesthetic because, as I recall, back when we used to make websites like this, we just called it crappy. But, you know, that's also an aesthetic, I guess. All right, well, thanks for that.
One.
Yeah, okay, thanks for that, Grown. That's fascinating.
210 hits. And look at this.
So there's
if there's anyone interested in actually playing around with one of these, it takes a little bit of learning, and it's really old school HTML from scratch. But, right, I really think you can do command line, you can do FTP, and this is a computer science class, I think.
Can they, just out of curiosity, Groom, could they put a Slideshow Pro on there?
Yeah, that's actually, we got to plug into that now. It costs $30, though.
Okay. All right. That was
mean.
fascinating.
That was meanie.
that was meanie. That was an inside joke. That was a meanie inside joke between Groom and me. Okay. I got nothing else. I'm tapped out.
Do you want me to show some more HTML?
No. Nope. That is the one thing I don't want. Black Bond. Do you have anything else important to share? Oh, I have one other thing. I'm sorry. This Friday is the deadline for the digital project contest.
Has anyone from DS106 entered?
I cannot say that, but maybe yes. I want to see more of our fantastic students submitting their personal domains to the best personal domain category.
Yes.
Friday, the 27th.
What would you do?
If you win, you will win $150. I'm talking now, Groom.
Wow.
You'll win $150 of cold, hard cash that you can use to buy a book on HTML so that you too can build a tilde space.
Well, that's what I was going to ask.
What?
What if we map someone's domain on a tilde space at the DS106.club? Would that be acceptable?
That would be a choice, yes.
It would be a choice. Would it be acceptable?
The only requirement for best personal domain is that you must use domain of one's own. I would leave it up to the judges to determine how that held up against other sites submitted. That is all I can say. But regardless, students in Bond, student in Groom, student in Bertus, don't hesitate. Go and enter. You have nothing to lose.
Can I ask you this?
You could win $150. What? No, you may not enter.
I'm not going to answer.
Okay.
But let me ask you this, and this is just, could a student theoretically submit their DS106 portfolio to be considered?
I think they could. I think that the way that that category is written, their DS106 portfolio should, and for many of our students it already does, reflect more than just their activity in this class. That's basically the idea. But I think we have lots of students who have who either had a domain that they then brought in to DS106, or who set up a site for DS106 and then imagined it more broadly for other activities and classes.
I was thinking specifically of Tiffany's work with her videos this week. And she had that one where she interviewed her 16-year-old self.
Yes.
I mean, like, stuff like that has just been off the hook good. And
I think, I think some students who maybe haven't thought about it beyond this class, with just a little bit of effort, could shape their domains into something that is a more broad reflection of themselves and enter it in the contest. And if they need help, they could come to the Digital Knowledge Center, where our incredible tutors like Black are available to assist.
And Brian Gillette's interview of himself, too, was amazing.
I haven't seen that one yet. All right, I got to go see that. On that
one
note,
thing about the project. I'm looking at the guidelines, and for best academic project site, it has to have been done before spring 2015.
Right. They can't enter a DS106 site for best academic project. No, a former DS106 student could, but that is a requirement. They can still enter for best personal domain if they've built out their domain as something beyond just this class. But academic projects, because we couldn't guarantee students would be done by March 27th, it didn't seem fair to include spring projects. So next year they could enter it.
Could they submit it with a rationale as to why they're breaking the rule?
They could, but they won't win.
Oh.
Thanks
You're
for
very
that.
meanie.
I know, I'm the meanie. Okay, that is all I have.
Yeah, I forwarded the email about that to my section, and I'd really encourage people to enter because they've done a lot of awesome work.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you both. I appreciate your support of this very important contest.
I don't know if I forwarded the email, but I definitely agree that they should.
I didn't really think you had. Okay. I think we've talked for way too long. Let's let everybody go. Have a great week. Noir106, Bond, Groom, Black.
Noir106 for life.
For
All right.